Hello, everybody. I hope that everything is okay for you. Today, we have an amazing last day for this great InsurTech Latam Forum with the first invite that is Olivier Jaillon. Olivier Jaillon, that is an amazing entrepreneur, an amazing leader in insurance. So if you want to understand, to listen everything in Spanish, please, you can select Spanish speaking. If you want to listen in English, you can select in English. So don't forget, you can organize in the platform meetings in order to chat, to meet some people and everything. You can visit the site of our partner too. And basically, you can review every panel, every roundtable, every panelista and everything until end of October. So now we're going to invite Olivier Jaillon directly from France. That is amazing because with the COVID, we can talk with Olivier Jaillon. Olivier Jaillon, thank you very much to be with us. You will speak about Wakam. So Olivier Jaillon is the CEO of Wakam, the new name of La Parisienne. As you know, I talk a lot about La Parisienne in Latin America. For me, La Parisienne and now Wakam is an amazing business case about InsurTech, digital transformation in insurance. And Olivier Jaillon, welcome to Latin America. You can speak in front of all the people from Mexico to Argentina and Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador. So thank you very much to be with us.
Good morning. So because I think it's good morning for you guys. So I'm super excited to be with you and to speak at InsurTech Latam 2020. And thank you, Hugues, for all the nice words about what we're trying to achieve with Wakam. Like you said, well, I'm excited. I would have wished to speak in Spanish, but not yet. I hope I will learn one day if we come and do business in Latin America. Like you said, Wakam is really the story of a transformation. When the company is actually pretty old, because when it used to be called La Parisienne, the company was created in 1829. So it's still the oldest French insurance company active in the market that hasn't been swallowed by the big guys, by the incumbents, like we call them. So we bought this company 20 years ago, but we really started the transformation as you see today, 5 years ago in 2015. So I've chosen to support my speech with a few slides explaining what we're doing. It's always good to have words, but also to have visuals. So I hope I will bring you through the story. And then, of course, I will be super happy to answer to all of your questions. So if we start the presentation, and if we talk about the society in general, the society is going through major shift. And the way we see it at Wakam is that we are being carried out by this shift of the society and the transformation. Of course, you all know that there's been a major rise of digitization in the past years, a domination of what you could call global e-retail. And also there's the rise of risk aversion. And I think we saw that precisely in COVID-19. You could see that, people, felt they had to be protected by us, by the insurers. You saw all the discussions about the business interruptions, all the discussion about the healthcare. So all these movement of digitization and of risk aversion have been accelerated and amplified by the crisis that we're going through. And it's also a slower but deeper trend. And I wrote a book about this that will come out on 22nd of October. We will translate it in English, so hopefully we'll be able to send it to you. It's the rise of what we call ephemeral property. What does it mean? The society is moving from property to usage, from asset-owned to subscription-based. You were used to buy DVDs, and now you have a subscription base with Netflix, and for $9.50, you can access all these DVDs that you were buying. You were used to buy a car, And now you're using those platforms with free floating, with Uber, with others. And so we can see that the property is moving from the final consumer to these platforms, then give you this property in fractional use. And this is really a deeper, slower, but deeper trend of the economy. So if we move to the next slide, and these novel trends, digitization, risk aversion, ephemeral property, they change the needs about the insurer, and the insurance sector needs to adapt because we're actually experiencing a new reality. So first, digitization. What does it mean? Is that we need to become natively global, because all those brands, we're talking about Uber. We're working with Uber in 4 countries. We're working with Deliveroo in 10 countries. We're working with Dot, Lime in many countries. In order to follow these global e-retail brands, it's a kind of all or nothing approach. And this is very difficult because at the minimum, we need to be pan-European, and sometimes we need to be global. But the major insurers, even if they would be seen as naturally adapted to this, they have some legacies because they organize country by country with subsidiaries, and so it's difficult to build global program. And also, the second thing is that we need to grow as a social shock absorber, which means that, I mean, when the e-scooter came out in the streets in France and many other countries, nobody knew what was the risk. There was not even a legal framework. We didn't know if it was third-party liability, if it was general liability. The regulator had to evolve. And we have to evolve, which means that we have to integrate the protection, the insurance, as a transparent and painless protection that is automatically activated. That's what we do with those guys in Europe. And we need also more process automation because this fractional usage implies micro premiums. When we insure those guys ride-hailing in the UK, the average premium for us, for example, is 1.8 euros. So if not everything is automated, because we insure a ride of 8 minutes on average, so this premium, this policy needs to be automated, and I'll talk about it. So the new normal for an insurer is to become a product platform very quickly, very agile, very time to market. So this is the way we've transformed our business at Wakam. We see ourselves as being a driving belt between all the distributors and the capital. And so our job is to understand the needs of the final consumer, to understand the needs of the distributors. And the distributors, they can be either brokers, they can be either insurtech, or they can be e-retailers, physical retailers that need to embed insurance. And you see some examples of people we're working with. And then as a product factory and a product shop, we imagine those products, we do it in less than 6 weeks, and then we keep 20% of the risk and we transfer the rest either to the reinsurers or to the financial markets. Why is that? Because those guys, they are very efficient because they are global, they are diversified their risk, they're using internal capital model, and they're super efficient. So we keep some skin in the game, but then we transfer the risk. But we keep the risk on the balance sheet as a full stack insurer. If we move to the next slide, we give you a few examples. I mean, we are everywhere, and this is where the insurer of tomorrow has to be, everywhere. And this is a selection of Wakam's white label case studies. For example, I mean, you take a ride on Bolt, and you're insured by us. You order noodles on Deliveroo, and you're insured by us. The rider is insured by us. You buy a phone from an e-retailer, you're insured by us. You book a flight on Expedia, you're insured by us. And a few numbers that you have of all these policies that are actually secured by us. Last year, 1.4 million rides on vehicles, more than 500,000 food delivery, more than 5 million retail contracts on electronic goods. So we are becoming one of the leaders of digital insurance in Europe about what we call embedded insurance, which we see as being the future of the company. If we move to the next slide, in terms of technology, what does it mean? We talked about automation, and of course, the way we transform the company, because as traditional insurers has also a lot of legacies into their IT systems, We made a very simple systems, which means we have a product factory, we parameter those products into that factory, and we produce automatically an API, and then the distributor just embed the API wherever he wants into the customer journey. So a few numbers, more than 2 million requests on our API per week now, and it's growing exponentially. Like we said, we need to automate the policies also, and now we have more than 300,000 policies automated in the blockchain. Why did we choose blockchain? Because we want to be activists in the future about, we think that the proof and the traceability of the blockchain is at least as safe as signing a contract. And so the reason why we chose a blockchain instead of a standard database is that we want to be in the future activist with a regulator so that the trace in the blockchain would be considered as legally binding. Why do I talk about IoT as well? It's because we believe that we need to create our own triggers. What does it mean? Is that we can capture open data. For example, we have some flight delay parametric insurance products, and we capture the information about the delay from a database like FlightStat. But we also now are building our own devices so that we capture data. I will give you an example. We've built a third-party collision own damage policy for cars, for motor, that is actually activated with a small device that works on a zero-G network. So you just take the device, throw it in your car, you buy the TPL, the minimum cover, and then your own damage is automatically activated through that little device that costs €3 and that lasts more than 5 years in terms of energy. And we need to automate the on-demand, and we need to automate the claims when it's feasible. So that's how we make insurance, embedded insurance work. If I go to the next slide, these are a few examples of things that we do and people how we work. We team up with all kinds of players. Those are examples of partnership because we believe that the distribution of the personal lines insurance product that you know, motor insurance, motorcycle insurance, health insurance, renters insurance, they're going to be either distributed by brokers or insurtech or by the brands themselves. So, and if we look at the future, we think that brokers are all going to become insurtech, and insurtech into their business model, we can see that today. Almost all of them, they work on the business model of a broker, which means that they collect commission. And we think that there will always be those intermediaries, and we will follow just the transition of the economy from property to usage, from asset owned to subscription based. The brand will be more and more entitled to go direct to the insurers, but the intermediaries will remain in the game for a long time. So if we move to the next slide, how do we do this? Because one of the other pain points of the incumbent insurer is that building up products are very slow. It takes months, if not years. So we worked very hard on this, and we created a methodology called Bespoke, where we can create products quickly. But even if we create products quickly, we have different types of distributor. So if I start with the top right, the standard Bespoke methodology works in 6 weeks. And this is when we build a fully tailor-made solution with a dedicated team. And all of this is digitalized, which means that you have a studio, you have a timeline when you work with us, you know the countdown until it will go to production, you know the governance, you know our decision-making process. Every time we have an opportunity, the opportunity is proposed to the whole company, they vote, it's a real democracy. And we can do that in 6 weeks because we're using research and development about pricing, and then we tailor-make the solution. Then we have a fast track, which is even shorter, in 3 weeks. Why do we do this? Because sometimes when we have these new users, we don't know if the product is going to work. So even 6 weeks is too long. We need to be very rough, very agile, very quick, and test on the market. And what we do is that we give a maximum underwriting capacity of 150,000 euros to the intermediary. We do rough pricing, we collect the data, and we adjust. And if we see that there is market appetite for what we did in that co-design, then we go back to the standard methodology. And the most important and interesting feature that we came out with the name Wakam, because when we changed our name, because of course we had to align our identity to the business model of the company, which is a very international company, very digitalized company. So I was sad, but we had to abandon La Parisienne Assurance, and Hugues has been talking so much about La Parisienne and other people said we were a little sad, but we needed an identity that was reflecting more our business model. We built a self-service facility. So what is it? It's a little bit the Stripe of insurance, you know, is you go on the website, you do your KYC online as a distributor, you sign your agreement with us, and you parameter your own products. You choose your coverage, you choose your deductible, you choose your level of commission, and you generate your own API. And this is all done from our Wakam interface. So you can adjust the parameters. So these are for the parametric products that are fully automated so that distributors can then work. You can imagine that a broker has decided to have a go-to-market strategy with travel agencies, and using the self-service facility, he's not going to even have to call us. It will be a separate product for each of the travel agencies working with different coverages, different parameters, different deductible, different rate of commission. So we're very excited about that facility because we are sure that this will help us really scale the business. If we go to the next slide, well, we are the leader now in digital insurance in Europe. So we've had a lot of awards. I mean, we are in the Financial Times 1000 Europe's fastest growing company. We've had a prize in DIA Amsterdam. We are in the Champions of Growth in France, in the InsurTech 100. And we're, of course, as a B2B2C white label, I mean, our final model is really Allianz. So I think I'm talking too much because I had put a timer, but I'm almost finished. And we've been copied now by a few guys like Epticule from Swiss Re, like Element in Germany and Sena, but they're behind us. We think we have a few years of advance, but we're happy to be copied because it means that the market appetite that we had identified for B2B2C digital solution is the reality of our consumption company of today. And maybe I will finish with one thing on the next slide, is that, well, a few numbers before. So now we have 240 partnerships live. Our turnover GWP is 382 million. We've had an average growth of 37% over the last 5 years. We're making money, which is sometimes unusual in the InsurTech space. And 55% of our revenues are outside France. And that confirms really the momentum and the market appetite with our key facts and figures. Next slide. So we built up, I think I'm not going to take too much of your time, but everything about execution is based on human people. And I think we have an amazing team now with a lot of people that have joined us with Major Group, Allianz, AXA. And now we're starting also to implement country manager in a few countries like UK, Ireland, Spain, Italy. So the model still remains very digital, very virtual, but in the core countries now we've decided to have some physical presence. So we're controlled by long-term shareholders, which is a strength because we don't have to give back. It's not investment funds. We don't have to give back the money after 5 years. Our financial strengths now have a private rating. So we are now rated BBB, so we're investment grade, and we're moving forwards to A-. We have zero legacies. Like I said, 5 years ago, we started from the blank page, which allows us to go so quick. And the last slide is that we believe that all the insurance company have to be part of a global tech for good movement. So, I mean, we have a status in France called Société à Mission, which is actually inspired by B Corp company. And we've decided to come up with our mission statement, which is enable transparent and impactful insurance. And this is very important because being a B2B2C players, we're a little far away from the final client, but it's important that the product for the final client is impactful, which means that it's equitable in terms of redistribution of wealth. It's clear, it's transparent. So we have a roadmap, a very clear roadmap in the next 36 months to have all our contracts written in plain language, to limit the commissions, to make sure that the client gets what he needs out of his money, and to have a net promoter score for all of our distributors to make sure that the quality of what we deliver to the final consumer is good. And also, we deeply think that as a stabilizer of the economy, the insurers, we have to offer what we call zero margin products for fragile populations. So in France, we came up with a micro insurance, I would say, range of products for the low income workers where we don't make any money, we don't make any margin, and if we do, we give it back. So we think that at Wakam, we've finalized our mission statement and we finalize our roadmap for the next 36 months. So that gives you a little bit of the view of how we transform the company and where we're positioning the company. And sorry, I was a little long. So now I'm happy to answer all the questions.
Okay, Olivier, so great, so very clear. Thank you very much. Do not forget to ask directly with the chat, so I receive the question. But I'm going to talk about, yes, effecto wow about a lot of insurers ask if it's important to invest in technology, in organize a digital transformation. And I understand that your growth is about 37% by year in mature market. So for us, it's amazing. And I would like to understand before the question, I understand that you are writing a book. Is it right? And can you read this book in French only or in English too?
Well, the book, so yes, you have a very good information. The book is coming up on the 22nd of October. Okay. It's actually a deeper analysis of what I was describing in the beginning, that now we're moving from a society where you used to own your assets to a society where you're more on a subscription based and you have fractional usage. And so it's more about the anthropological and psychological aspects of that transformation. And also, of course, what will be the role of the insurer, because we become a social and economical stabilizer of the economy, because all these fractional usage needs to be covered. And because they're very short in time, you know, there's no other ways than embedding the protection into the service. When you take your e-scooter for 8 minutes, you cannot go to see an insurance agent and ask for a contract for a year. So it needs to be on demand, immediate, transparent, and flexible. So I analyzed the transformation in depth of the society and just explain what should be the role of the insurer of the future. The book will be translated within the next months in English.
Wow.
So it will be, and I don't have the title in English. I can give you the title in French, but I'm not sure it's easily, translated in English as say. So we have to find a new title. So.
Okay, so amazing, yeah. So good. I'm going to read it. So sure. As you know, I mentioned always that in my point of view, it's my point of view. I think that there are two insurers that really reach its digital transformation. Ping An in China with a full ecosystem. So a lot of dialogue, pitch with the client. And the other one is, I think, in my point of view, is Wakam. So the question is for the audience, what are the tips for the CEOs of insurer to make a good digital transformation?
Well,
yeah.
Well, I'm going to make a comparison with the banks. The banking industry, I think, realized before the insurers that their level of legacies in terms of organization and IT systems was too heavy to succeed in transforming digitally their business at the speed that would be acceptable for the economy. So you see a lot of bankers that have created neobanks or that have acquired neobanks. The insurers, in terms of maturity, they're still not there. You don't see, And actually, you're taking the example of Chong'an, and it's a very good example because, I mean, Chong'an has been created by Ping Han. And exactly, Ping Han said, you know what, we're going to start from a blank page, aside of what we're doing, because if not, the legacies are just going to be too heavy. So I think Ping Han has made that psychological move of understanding that transformation is also first needs to start from a blank page on the side. And maybe after you can merge the two models in the future at a slower pace. And I think the biggest tip that I would give, and if you, I don't want to be pretentious, but if you take the example of Elon Musk and Tesla, when he started Tesla, you know, he started on the side and he said, I'm not going to take anything for granted, you know. Everybody told him that the wheels had to be, they couldn't be independently built from, you know, the frame. And he did it. Everybody told him that the batteries couldn't be on the floor, but he did it. So at every step of the design of what you're doing, you have to put aside what has been done by the industry for decades. So the two tips that I would give is to start from the blank page, even if you're someone that thinks that you have the knowledge and the experience and everything. And also the other tip that I would give is that in terms of what I call product management, product design of your IT platforms, also be very humble. You know, consider that you don't know anything. Consider that there's no principles on the industry. Everybody told us that it was impossible to build a product and pricing in less than 6 weeks. So it can be done. We did it, and Chong'an did amazing things. But Chong'an has a mega advantage, well, I don't know if this is or disadvantage if you're talking about the society. They don't have GDPR. So, and we do have GDPR. And so data collection is an amazing tool to be able to satisfy the customer, you know, at the right moment for the right thing at the right place, you know? And we can't do that in Europe. We can't do it in the US. I don't want to get into the society, you know, discussion about is that good or not that we can collect so many data about the individuals. But this is something they're using heavily and they're using it well. So,
okay, thank you. So because we have no more time, I would like to ask the last question. I know you love travel in the world of before. I know you love Latin America. So
yes.
What about Wakam in Latin America? Is it an opportunity for us to meet you here in Brazil, in Mexico, in Chile?
Well, so talking about travels, I used to go kite surfing in Brazil,
yeah, right.
in Jerry. So I hope I'll be able to go back. But apart from kite surfing in Brazil, I mean, honestly, the whole continent is very attractive. As you said, I mean, you know, in some countries, they jump stages of the evolution. And I think Latin American countries will jump some of the stages of the evolution and will probably move faster than us to this fractional usage society. So, and as we are being really carried out by the change in the economy, I would be super excited to study the feasibility to do business in Latin America. And what we're thinking about is that, and maybe I'm making a call to the people that are listening, but is that, you know, even if I think we have to start from the blank page, it's always nice to talk to the people that work on the market, the insurers that work on the market, and maybe some of them will be, I mean, happy to look at ventures where some people like us, I think we have a franchise. I mean, we have a name, we have an IT platform, we have a product, we have a knowledge, we have a methodology, and it's just a question of applying it to another culture, another country. And I think that could probably be done under the reserve that we would be left on the side and we would have a full autonomy on any place in the world.
So, Olivier, thank you very much for your time, because I know that you have no time. It was a masterclass about embedded insurance. So definitely it's amazing about ephemeral moment and of insurance. And I remember the word of blank page. Do not
Yes.
hesitate to work about blank page. So thank you very much. I'm waiting for you in Latin America. And for the audience, in 23 minutes, we're going to begin the InsurTech competition that you are waiting for. So Olivier Jaillon, thank you very much, and congratulations for the result. It's amazing.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you for welcoming us, and thank you to the event.
Ciao,
Bye.
nos vemos.